Hello students, welcome to our exciting first lesson of programming. We're going to get into an introduction to Java. That's our first section here. We're going to start off first with the introduction to OOP, or Object-Oriented Programming, and of course Java. So let's jump right in, and first, a couple things to get us started here. What is an OOP? Well, an OOP is an Object-Oriented Programming Language. Code is constructed of objects that are given properties that are then manipulated by the code. Programming languages such as Java are usually written inside of what is known as an IDE, or an integrated development environment. The IDE that we're going to be using for this course is known as Eclipse. Let's talk a little bit more about programming languages. Java itself was first developed back in 1991 by James Gosling and Sun Microsystems. He was kind of the lead guy in charge of the whole thing. Now, the reason why they were developing Java is because they wanted to develop a language that could be used across a variety of platforms in order to simplify the coding process. Prior to this, languages like C++ were very robust, but they had a disadvantage of they were very machine specific. So if you wrote libraries that were developed for Windows, you would have to modify and adjust things for a platform like, let's say, Mac. Or if you were doing video game development, you'd have to modify. So, today, let's talk about Java. It's in numerous applications, and it's integrated because of its ability to be cross-platform. That's one of Java's greatest strengths, is that it is cross-platform. Java is our example that we're going to use of an object-oriented programming language. I already gave another one, which was C++. Another popular programming language used today is C#, which is used in things like web development, and even people who program and do things like game design in Unity. C++ is a lot of times used as well, though. All right. Now, earlier in this presentation, I had mentioned that programming languages, particularly OOPs, used objects. But what exactly is an object? It's a very abstract concept, and sometimes it's a very hard thing for students to understand. So I'm going to try and give you an example of an object using something that we might be a little bit familiar with math. So let's represent an object, in this case with this box. All right? Just a plain ordinary box. All right? Now, we can say that, well, boxes, they have properties. Well, some of the most common ones are length, width, and height. All right? We can name those properties. Like the box might have a length of, like, let's say 5 centimeters, a width of 2 centimeters, and height of 3 centimeters. Something simple like that. You know, we don't really necessarily need the values right now, but we can look at a box and say, yeah, it's got length with height. You know, you can get other things like thickness of the material. You can get into things talking about, like, you know, how deep is the box. But we're not going to worry about those right now. Instead, let's just focus on these 3 properties. All right, and from those 3 properties, I can calculate different things such as surface area and volume. Well, surface area, you multiply each of the sides and add them up. So that's like multiply length times width, multiply by 2, width times height, multiply by 2, and length times width, or length times height, excuse me, multiply that by 2, and then add the whole thing. And of course, volume is just length times width times height. All right, the object in our example has properties. All right, let's just rename what's up length, width, height. Let's just call them A, B, and C. So this box has 3 properties, A, B, and C. Right. Now, each of those properties can have some kind of arithmetic or logical operation done to it. Right? And rather than saying it's like surface area, volume, we're going to use a different terminology that's used in programming. That's called a method. Sometimes you might hear this called a function, or an algorithm, or something like that. So these are different things that you can do in order to evaluate this box. Now let's actually get into running Eclipse. And I had mentioned this before if you had watched the software video. But when you're running Eclipse, there's an Eclipse shortcut right in your desktop. So let's double click that in order to run the application. It's going to access select workspace, and it's imperative that we choose our end drive in order to access our work, no matter what workstation you're at. Because how many times if you'd be at a computer and all of a sudden the computer blue screens? If you had to say it on your C drive, you're going to lose that. So we're going to make sure that we save that on our end drive. So if one computer goes down, we can just move and resume work. Click on Browse to find your end drive. You have to create a folder called Workspace. Click OK, and then you will be met by a welcome screen. You can close this. Again, if you watch the software video, you've already seen this step. All right, now when we actually get into navigating Eclipse, all right, and I will do this here in a minute. We're going to go to File, New, and then Java Project. All right, Eclipse is going to ask us for a project name. This is where we're always going to put the name of the project that we're working on. All right, let's call this project Hello World. We're going to leave everything else the same and click on Finish, and you now see a package export of the program Hello World. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and bring up Eclipse so that you can see what I just did here. All right, so now I have Eclipse open. So if you recall, I went up here to File, I clicked on New, to my Windows, and I went to Java Project. And in the project name, I said that we're going to call this Hello World. Okay? And that's all it is. Now, one thing you will note is that sometimes you try to do this, it might give you an error when you try to do some of these things. So you probably want to get in the habit of either separating things with an underscore or simply putting it all as one word. Because again, when we get into actually creating the program, we could run into problems. So I'm just going to leave spaces out. So that's a good practice to get into, is just to leave the spaces out of there because you can run into errors. So project name is Hello World, and you can see right down here at the bottom, there's an option for finish. Let's go ahead and click on that. And now over here you can see in Package Explorer, there's a little thing that says Hello World. If I hit that arrow to expand this, you can see there's a couple things in here, right? These are all library pieces that are part of Java. We're not going to really worry about those because for what we're needing, we don't have to worry about. So let's just close that. Now there's this source folder. Source folder is where your code's going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and advance on to actually creating the Hello World program. All right, let's make the Hello World program. So first things first. Any program needs what's called a main class in order to run. Currently, we do not have any of those. In fact, we don't have any code in our program right now. So we want to get code in there in order to make a program, in order to make it do something. All right? Don't worry, though, about what's a class. All right, what's this? What's that? We're going to eventually get to each of those pieces of the code in the program, and so you will learn as we go through this. So we'll look at those as we come through. All right. Right now, we're going to right-click on our project name that says Hello World, and we're going to see a list of options, and we're going to click on New. We're going to click on Class, and the dialog box is going to appear. We're going to need to do two things. In the name box, type Hello World. Do not use spaces. Remember how I said to kind of get in the habit of using spaces? This is where it really matters. And the project name doesn't really cause much grief, but in your program, it will cause grief. So I'll put Hello World all in one word, no spaces. All right, click the checkbox that says public static void main string args. You want to make sure this click that it's going to give your main method. That's what tells Java, hey, this is the program that's going to run your code. And then click finish. Let's go ahead and do that. We are in Java now. All right, and I'm going to right click on Hello World, and I'm going up here to New. And underneath all the stuff, you'll see the little thing that says class. So I click on class, and there's that thing. So let's do Hello World again. Hello World. Click the void main string args method. I'm going to click on finish. And it just takes Java a second, and boom, there's our program. All right. Now, one thing I want to mention, when we're starting off here with coding, eventually we're going to get into some exceptions. But a lot of what we're going to do, just to start off, is right here. So you see this like little green text right in here, where it says to do method stub. I'm going to come ahead and click right in here, and I'm going to delete that line out of there. So just highlight it and hit the backspace key. Right? And I'm going to go from this curly bracket and hit enter 2 times, just so I kind of get in the middle here. Right? So you always want to kind of have a nice little space there, just from that public method, because it helps separate, okay, where's my code, where's the code of the program made. Right? And all this indentation matters too, so everything's all dented over. And And there's a reason why we do that, because it helps make our program look a lot neater. And so when we have to later, when we get into one of the later chapters, we start talking about things like debugging, indentation is going to make it a lot easier to look at and fix problems. So, all right, we said that we did that. Let's go ahead then and click on finish, which we did. So let's get on our way here to actually making a program. All right, we've already almost written it, believe it or not. We just need to run it. But let's see what happens. It says nothing's going to happen. In fact, I can prove that by simply just coming right up here, clicking on this green play icon. It runs. It's going to ask me to save. I click OK. And I'm going to wait for something to happen. Nothing happened. No console came up here, no nothing. It's just doing its own thing. So we need to add some code. All right, we haven't given it any instructions. Code is the instructions that make the program work. So right after that green text that we deleted earlier that says to do, we enter twice to give us a nice spacing, lines it up. I already mentioned that. All right, where the cursor is currently at, let's type the following line of code: system.out.println hello world. Okay, code is in there. Now, what do you think that this program is going to do now? Well, let's find out. All right, let's save the program. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. And you notice now there's this little thing that says console that appeared. And down here, there's some text that says, hello world. Congratulations. You have now written your first program. This basic program is called hello world. And it often acts as a test program for other languages. So I need to fix that. That should be ACT. I don't know how I missed that one. All right. Acts as a test program for other languages. If you want to see what this program does, you will need to run the program. So we did, and it said hello world. All right, we click the green play arrow, and the words hello world appeared. All right, this is that code again. All right, and just kind of simplified version just so you can see. Public class hello world, public static void, main string args, system.out.println hello world. Now you'll notice there's a bunch of like curly brackets in here, a semicolon. Please make sure you keep those in there. I cannot tell you the number of times when teaching coding, the number of times problems occur because students forgot to put a curly bracket in, or they forgot to put a semicolon in. And it's where they go matters tremendously. All right. Now I'm going to look at another sample Java program. Okay. This is our Hello World program, but I'm going to break it down. So here's this public class sample program. All right, that's a class. All right, and the thing that includes in us is the word class. The next line starts at the beginning of the main method, public static void main string args. Again, the thing that includes in there is main. That's what tells Java, run this code. We're going to explore more in depth as we go through this course what these words mean. But for now, you can think of this as fancy way, hey, start the program called sample program. All right. Remember our Hello World program they had line system out the print line? Well, our sample program is going to have these lines. System out print line, hello reader. System out print line, welcome to Java. All right. This is going to program to print out file lines. Hello reader, welcome to Java. That's what it's going to do. Because anything that's inside those quotation marks is what it's going to print out. It's pretty simple. You see inside the quotes, print it out. So let's look at that print line statement with a little bit more in-depthness and examine what all those parts do. The above line basically says print out what is in the parentheses. The dot here has a very important meaning. Never forget that. Dot means that you're going to invoke an object. In this case, the object is known as system. It is calling a method. Remember we talked about that box with it having properties? Well, system has properties. All right, and those properties here, this one is called println. More specifically, out.println. That's a whole different spin here. All right, we'll look at methods more later on in this course. For now, a simple way of thinking about things is if you're going to invoke a method, it's the same thing as sending a message, right? And whatever we put inside those parentheses, well, that's simply just known as an argument. This provides information for the method to carry out its assignment. All right, quick preview of some things that are to come. All right, so a variable. If you want to use a number, you first must declare int answer. But you give answer value, you must use an equal sign to assign value. Answer equals 2 plus 4. All right. The equal sign serves as known as an assignment operator. So if we want to print out the value of answer, we write the following code. System.out.println 2 plus 2 plus answer. Please make note of the space after is. All right. It's crucial that you have it there. Most things are going to get a little smushed, kind of cramped up a little bit. Don't worry about this slide too much for the exercises you're going to do, because again, we'll get this more into the next lesson, but just kind of something you can put in the back of your mind that, hey, we're going to be doing some more cool stuff as we get into this. Now, earlier I did talk about that sample program. Boom, here's that sample program code. All right, and this is the reason why I kind of gave you that little stuff with variables, because you see there's some stuff in here. So here's that sample program. It says public class sample program, public static void, string args. Right. System.out.println, hello reader. System.out.println, welcome to Java. System.out.println, let's demonstrate a simple calculation. Int answer equals 2 plus 2. System.out.println, quote, 2 plus 2 is, quote, plus answer. Right. If we were to run our program, we will find that it would, of course, print out, hello reader, welcome to Java. Let's demonstrate a simple calculation. 2 plus 2 is 4. All right, you are on your self-test questions now, folks. All right, remember these are going to be in your labs there, so you have 3 questions here. All right, if the following statement were used in a Java program, it would cause something to be written by the screen. What would be written to the screen? System.out.println, Java is no beverage. Number 2, write the println statements that output the following messages to the console. I like Java. You like Java. Please make sure you include your semicolons on that. I don't want to just say system.out.println. Make sure you include your semicolons, quotation marks, all the punctuation should be in there. Number 3, write a complete Java program that uses system.out.println to output the following to the screen when run. And when I say complete program, that means I should see like public class, public static void main, all that curly brackets and everything else should be in there. And that concludes our first lesson. See you on the next one.